All right, it's time to talk about all the fun and exciting things going down this week in Reddit, in case the draft party is the most fun and exciting thing ever to happen this week in Reddit, this week on the internet, this week on Twitter. I don't care where you are. It's the coolest thing ever to happen. Am I wrong?
Chris, I bought a growler of a very, very strong IPA from my very favorite local brewery, the Fargo Brewing Company.
Love the Fargo Brewing Company.
Yeah, they are my friends. They are my family. I bought a very strong growler of their IPA Giga Hops for the draft party. So,
I was going to say you finished it off before today's show.
No.
All right.
I had plenty of other things today, but no.
I want to know, you need to check with the family at Fargo Brewing, and I want to know everywhere that they export to outside of Fargo and North Dakota.
I will let you know that as soon as I can, and then we can share it on the show.
Yeah, we need everybody to know because
they are my family. They are my very good friends' family. So
yeah. No, I'm with you. I want these folks to get I want folks who can to get a taste of it. In case I'm warning you right now, I'm going to be up there. And we are gonna drink them dry, you and me together. So get ready for that. All right.
Well, we can try.
All right. So let's talk about it. Besides the fact that he's got his growler of Fargo, what was it? Jiggly Hop?
Giga Hops.
Giga Hops. All right, that sounds good. His growler of that. I've got my my infamous and never-ending version of the Jaeger bombs that I'll be banging out. And then I'll step into something a little smoother. We've got great guests. Dean Blandino's joining us. Tony Ortiz is joining us. We've got some other great stuff happening during the show. We'll announce the winners of the auction, which is kicking right now. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the show. Case, I have to do this because it's the auction. I'm going to bring it up later again. Do you know Dinner with Us and Sandman and Riz is the highest bid item right now in the auction? More than a Matthew Stafford signed football.
Is there like some kind of requirement that I'm unaware of? You're like, we have to, do lap dances or?
Well, not of anyone but you. It's more than a Super Bowl used game ball. Us, our dumb, our dumb monkey faces. People, I don't know. Thank you guys.
These folks are in for a big disappointment.
I don't want to downplay this, but I'm very, very. My heart is huge. Thank you to everyone who's bidding on all the stuff we have out there. But I did not expect this to be a big deal. The Dinner with Us, and that's really cool that folks.
It is cool.
Give a shit about us because it's weird. It's still after we're into our 5th year almost here, man. We're almost complete 4 years done. And
remind me.
It's weird, right? It's weird. It's just a couple of dumb guys talking. All right, we'll move on. Draft party, don't miss it. It is the full first round of the draft. Case and I will be doing it. We will have some amazing. This is not every year. Okay, this is the 3rd annual. Every year we have made significant advances. It was audio only first year. It was added with video and some really cool draft information the second one. What could they do? What could we think of? Oh my God, what would the 3rd year be? It's going to blow you away. Get there, check it out. We have some really killer stuff. And I do have to give a big thanks to my boy for the hard work he's putting in to get some of the prep work done for this. I'm not even kidding when I say he spent about 100 hours so far building this stuff out to get it ready for the show. So good job, boy. Thank you, Jacob. All right. Draft party coming up. And then we're doing round 2 and we're doing round 3. Case, he's going to be burnt. He's going to have had it. That growler, he knows it's putting him in the ground. We're going to put him in. We got a pinch hitter coming in. Second string running back. Case is like our Kerryon Johnson, but don't worry. We got Sandman stepping in as our CJ Anderson. He's going to do round 2 and 3
I'll
with
take
us.
that all day, every day. That's a good comparison.
He's coming in. We got some great stuff coming on. So we're not just doing round 1. We got 2 and 3 coming this year, live broadcasts. And I'm telling you straight up, you don't even need to watch the NFL Network. You don't need to watch ESPN. We're going to have all the coverage you need for the draft this year, 100%. And I'll leave it at that because I just want you all to be surprised and enjoy it. So that's what that is. Draft party coming up. All right, let's move on. This one is from Gerfic on the subreddit. He has this NFL.com article ranks the 52 number 1 overall draft picks, and they have Stafford in the top 15. and I'm not going to give it away. But he says, I did not expect that. And I have to tell you, top 15 for 52 years is pretty good for our quarterback. I mean, I know a lot of people recently like to hate on him. We'll talk a little bit about, reasons why you absolutely shouldn't on who he is. But I want to walk through some of these picks, Case, and I just want to see what your reaction is to the top 52 kind of thinking on this. Okay, you ready?
I definitely am.
All right. So first one, number one overall, is Peyton Manning. I can see that, right? I'm down with that.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say, and I'm going to give it away right off the top, is Matthew Stafford beats out Tom Brady as a pick. And I'm not Super Patriots guy. I'm not that. Tom Brady was a 6th round pick and has won 147,000 Super Bowls and has 253 million yards passed. I have to think that he is probably the best pick overall of all time because somebody dug an absolute diamond right out of a pile of shit. 6th round is like, what is that? A 5% chance playing in the league? Some crazy low number. And he's the guy he is. Do you disagree with me that Tom Brady, and it's not a love Tom Brady thing. It's just where he performed compared to where he was in the draft. Am I wrong here?
No, I don't disagree with you. I mean, the only question is, if you set yourself up for a hypothetical, because that's what we're doing.
No, it's just somebody else's list, so we can beat it up. We're not even hypotheticalize.
Right. But if you set yourself up for a real hypothetical, and you say, could any other quarterback have done what Tom Brady did in New England? It's so tough. I would say probably, because the evidence was there with Matt Castle the year that Tom Brady got hurt.
Okay, so here's my counter to that. All right, and I'm making a drink in the background. I have one of the aforementioned Jaeger bombs coming together.
I'm not going to say you're wrong about whatever you say either.
But the thing is Tom, like Drew Bledsoe did okay, right? He didn't do terrible.
Yeah.
But this really came together, and part of why it came together was Tom Brady's willingness to do everything that Belichick told him to. Some of the egos and some of the people that you would get in a round 1, round 2 kind of situation might not allow them to do that. And that's one of the things that I think makes Brady so great, is that he recognized the situation he was in and he was able to excel in that situation specifically. So anyway, that, Peyton Manning's number 1 and that's where he is. And Tom Brady isn't even in the top 15. And that to me is really weird, because if you're talking about the so I'm wrong, because this whole list is about ranking number 1 picks, right? so I took us on a rabbit hole that I shouldn't have.
What are we doing?
I'm just loving Tom Brady. Okay, we'll move on.
All right.
He's, I think, one of the best picks overall, though. I'll tell you that. In all time, one of the most value.
Well,
picks
for value, I can't argue with that.
Okay, number 2, Bruce Smith. I loved watching this guy. Buffalo Bills defensive end. This guy was a murderer of quarterbacks. Really, really something to see out there, and really loved what he brought to the 11 Pro Bowls this guy got. Do you agree? He's pretty good at number 2.
I'm not old enough to know.
That stung a little, Case. that might have stung a lot. I'm going to open this. I'm going to get closer to making this Jaeger bomb. So you don't know this guy either. Number 3, John Elway. We'll just scroll past it. John Elway could have been your father.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, okay. He's a GM now. Here's a guy that here's how old I am. I saw him play. Number 4, you get Terry Bradshaw.
I saw him play too. I was a kid. But I saw him play.
No, you didn't. Don't give me that shit. You saw like replays and all that stuff.
Fair.
You saw him on Fox Sports at the head of the show. Terry Bradshaw was something, man. Those Steelers in the 70s were just amazing, man. Lynn Swann. Woo.
Do they really put Terry Bradshaw on that list?
Yeah, number 4. Number 4.
You're kidding me.
He's the number 4th overall
number
1 pick.
Do you know who I take over him like 100 times before I took him?
Who?
Dan Marino, and he's not number 4 on that list.
He's not in the top 15. Was he number one? Was he picked number one? Because we wind up with the same Tom Brady situation,
good
right?
Question. Good question. He might not have been.
This is
he
the
might
thing,
not.
right? You want to like, then you're like, fuck, the stupid criteria got me.
But that's
caught in a technicality.
That is a dude who succeeded based on a team being well built. Not a good player. No, I'm not saying he was a bad player. I'm not saying he was a bad player. I'm not saying Terry Bradshaw was a bad player. I'm just saying like
it was different football.
If that hadn't been an amazing defensive team,
it's different football back then too.
Yeah,
right. That it is today.
Yeah,
but good show, Terry Bradshaw, and I have to tell you, he's a guy I've seen him. I actually was talking to Dean about him personally. Terry's doing fine. I was worried about his health a little bit based on what I was seeing on the Fox show, but he said no, he's in good shape. He's a guy. He's up there in age. His personality is hilarious. I really like.
Well, I won't agree with that.
And I would say go back to the last show we did with Dean to hear some of the inside scoop on how funny Terry Bradshaw is still today, and maybe how incompatible with the rest of the human race he is. He's a tough guy to get along with. All right, moving up. Number 5, Troy Aikman. Now, here's a guy.
They're killing me with this list. Yeah. They're killing me.
Remember, it's number ones. Remember, it's number ones, right? Number one pick. But boy, he did win a couple of Super Bowls. He's not my favorite announcer.
Yeah. No, we're going quarterback heavy here.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. It's just it is what it is.
All right, number 6. This guy murdered the league. O.J. Simpson.
I feel that. I mean, controversy aside, I feel like the talent fits that.
He was great. He was a great running back.
On that list, the talent fits for him better than it does some of the other guys.
Yeah. Remember, number one. Nick Saban's dad, Lou Saban, took over head coaching in 1972, and O.J. Simpson really won. Now, here's a guy that I absolutely loved, and I laugh. Do you remember the Houston Oilers case? Are you old enough to remember the Houston Oilers?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
Just check it. I didn't know if you're still in a diaper now. This guy was a guy that. This is a guy that I loved forever. I was and I had I was super into football, and I was out. And I was in as a young kid. I was trying to find what I was interested in, right? And this is 1978 when he was drafted. Earl frickin' Campbell.
What were you, 30?
Yeah. Fuck you. Earl Campbell, and this guy, I gotta say, I loved watching him play at 30 years old. And seeing what he brought. This guy was like a freight train, man. He was so cool on the field. Man, Earl Campbell was the man. Almost 1,700 yards in his second year, and almost $2,000 he got in 1980. And he didn't do it. Barry was a different kind of cat, right? He moved around people and made people miss. Earl Campbell just put people on their ass. He was fucking great to watch. I love that kind of. It's the same reason back if you think to hockey. I loved Vladdy Konstantinov on the wings because he fucked people up. Right, he was a freight train on defense. I love that kind of thing, and to see an offensive player play like Earl Campbell, that was great. Ron Yeri, offensive tackle, drafted in 1968 by the Vikings. Case, you can tell us all about this since you live in Vikings land.
Oh yeah, God, I know exactly who that guy is.
One of the purple penis eaters, consistent performer, number 8 overall. I gotta move on.
I would love to pretend that I knew who that guy was, but I don't know.
He was a big dude. All right, we'll move on. Number 9 of the overall picks, and this guy has an expressway in Tampa named after him, which fucking kills me. Like, you name stuff after like governors and presidents and heroes and stuff. Evidently, Leroy Selman, the defensive lineman from the Tampa Bay Bucks in 1976, he earned himself an expressway.
The Selman overpass.
Yeah, and it's a toll road, just so you know. So there you go, Leroy Selman from the Bucks. They say he was the best they ever had prior to the Tony Dungy team. So good stuff for him. He's He's evidently a pretty good guy. Moving on, the Rams, 1997 first round pick. What were you out of diapers yet in 97, Case? No answer. Okay. Orlando Pace, offensive tackle of the St. Louis Rams. My man. Orlando Pace, he made a name for himself. He was part of the Greatest Show on Turf. And hell of an offensive tackle. That guy made a big name for himself.
That might be one of the most memorable names you just said to me.
Really? Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll go on to number 11. This is super memorable to me. And I was young. I was so young that I didn't really know about the whole football thing, but the name stood out, and I don't know why. Ed Too Tall Jones, defensive end, drafted in 1974. Mm-hmm. Right? That name just stands out. It really Too Tall Jones. I remember that shit from way, way back. He was 6'9".
We had a weather weatherman, a forecaster, a whatever the fuck they're called.
Everyone knows the weather blows in Fargo.
Yeah. Named Too Tall Tom Schmansky. Growing up in Fargo. But because I grew up hearing that nickname, I also knew who the NFL player was.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Too Tall Jones. Number 12. This is super controversial to me. And I remember when this happened. I'm trying to think off the top of my head because I was at Ford Field for this draft. Okay. And this was in the midst of the Lions drafting wide receivers because one day we're going to get one. Eli Manning, drafted by the San Diego Chargers, always has that stupid look on his face. I mean, he has a stupid look on his face anyway, but holding the Chargers jersey after telling him he's not going to play for him, that was the biggest a-hole move, I think, in the draft that I've ever seen. Eli Manning and Archie and trying to craft where he shows up. I to this day, I would drop sack on Eli's face.
Yep.
Really, really jacked me. I hated that. I thought that's the kind of thing that's going to screw up the draft and screw the whole deal up. But San Diego drafted him, put the trade in right away with the Giants, got themselves Phil Rivers, and that's that. But Eli Manning, number 12. I can't even say that he ranks, all that other stuff aside, at number 12 as far as the number one draft picks. I wouldn't give him that. I wouldn't give him that high of a rating.
No, I agree. I don't know what else you want from me, but no, I completely agree.
Go rail on him. Say something bad about it.
About which one?
About Eli.
He's not very good.
There you go. Now see, this is Case's growler analysis. He got nipping in the growler early. He's going to be so sober for this draft show. All right, let's move on. Matthew Stafford makes number 13 overall of all the number one picks. Now, look, this is a list of top 52. What do you think about Stafford at number 13? I mean, there's guys I could clip out of there. I could put him as high as probably 9 or 8 with the guys I see so far, right?
I haven't actually looked at the list. I did see that it happened.
Talk through it though, just so you know.
Right.
Okay.
But like trying to put my guy in that list is difficult. 13 overall, to some people that might sound like an insult, but I don't think that actually is, considering how many number one overall guys there have been over time.
52.
I think that's not really that big of an insult.
I see some of these guys. I see Eli Manning ahead of him. I think that's just a bad choice. I think Matthew Stafford.
I agree because I personally think that Stafford is a much more talented quarterback than Eli ever was. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Eli Manning did win 2 Super Bowls. So, I mean, to whoever's making the list, those things probably matter.
I'm toast.
I don't know. All right, I'll move on to 14. We're only going to do the top 15. Did you see me stick that in there? 14, Cam Newton. I think it's probably overrated for him. I think he's a fine quarterback, but I think putting him 14 is probably a little high. But I do want to end with a guy. I know he holds a special place in your heart case. He didn't get to play when you were watching and caring about the Lions. But he's a guy that since we interviewed him, he's just grown in your heart as a big thing. Billy Sims, number 15, first overall.
What, the Kung Fu Ninja?
Yeah, that's right, baby.
My boy.
Yeah, the guy who showed up on the Detroit Lions podcast or broadcast show. He showed up. Billy Sims makes it at number 15. I loved him. Case, he could have been so much if that knee injury hadn't gotten him. He was spectacular. Announcing, is it the second round pick this year?
Yeah, he gets to come out this year, which is fun.
And
we enjoy that.
We are still in negotiations to have Billy join us for a quick call on draft night. So be tuned
on the Detroit Lions broadcast show,
my friend. And I would change my name just because Billy Sims said that. Just so you know, if he called me Frank, I'd be Frank the next week. I'd be at the courthouse. Detroit Lions broadcast show with Frank and Case. I love me some Billy Sims. I'm just telling you this straight up.
Oh yeah.
I've got like a Stafford ball here. I've got a couple other balls in the background. The Billy Sims where he signed it and he's got his Rookie of the Year and the Hall of Fame call. That is my favorite of all my little relics that I have from the Lions and Lions fandom here in the place, dude. It's right there in the glass case right there. Billy Sims broadcast show, my man. All right, so that's where we stand on that. Love me some Billy Sims. That's the top 15. We'll move on. Overall, you're good with Stafford at 13. I think you could probably. I think you could probably make the top 10 in the list that they put forth so far.
Yeah, I'm. It's not one of those things that sends me into a rage. So.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Next piece we're going to talk about, and this is something. It's a big deal. Speaking of Matthew Stafford, we had our Stafford So Strong hashtag that we did that back in the day when we were trying to have people win hats and other stuff and do some of the other contests we did. And Kelly Stafford had a tumor growing on her brain. She found it because she'd lost some balance. And she made an Instagram post finally post-surgery. And there was a video of her walking down the hall. And, you know, these are the things that typically the press and whoever else overanalyzes, right? You're like, right into that thing. But I think there's a couple takeaways we can grab here, Case. And if you're okay talking about it, I'd like to just kind of look at what we saw and kind of think about some of the stuff going on with Kelly and the Stafford family. You good with that?
Yo, totally.
Okay. So I'll still say hashtag Stafford So Strong, although I will apply that to Kelly because she's had the right attitude and came into this and just like it didn't have a choice, but she just head on into it and took care of it. Instagram post after surgery. She's there. She's doing okay. She's home now, and they're taking care of her at home, which is great news, right? You get worried about infections and that kind of thing. Anytime you crack the skull open to do stuff, that gets a little nerve-wracking, and they're able to get in there and get her out pretty quick. So that's good stuff. You move on, you start thinking about some of the other things. They had a video that she posted of Matthew walking her down. And I'm going to tell you, as a guy, you know, this is a thing that happens to families. It's part of the, you know, your life story and your family story. You have medical situations and you do things, right? And we've had some things where we had to be strong for each other in my family. And you look at Matthew. This is something that, as a guy who's, I'm a few years older than him, but not too many. Case, not too many.
He's my age.
Go fuck yourself.
I mean, literally, he's my age.
Yeah. You're a failure. I just want you to know that. So we sit here and we look at this in retrospect, the things that I've gone through with the family and all other things, and there is nothing nothing more difficult than being the pillar of strength for somebody in your family who needs it. It's a job that you have to take on, and you do because you have to. But watching Matthew walk her down the hallway, the care, the attention. I mean, there's so many people, especially in the NFL, with the money and the fame and the stardom and everything that goes with it, who just kind of like abdicate their responsibilities. And Matthew was right there, and that was something that, as a measure of a man, you see what he did, and it's absolutely something that that you can just tell who he is as a person, and in what he did and how much he cares. All the other stuff doesn't matter. The thing he cares about the most is his wife and his family, and he did what a good man will do. So really, really impressive seeing what he did. Impressive seeing how she stood up and fought this. She's a tough girl. If you've watched her on Instagram, and that's been my wife's job. That's what she does for one of the things she does for the show is monitor Kelly's Instagram. Seeing her work out at 9 months pregnant, like doing these things that I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not that fit, and she's like 9 months pregnant and can absolutely do it. Seeing the fight that she has in her and in the family, that's really something special. And I just, the football fan in me is like, I hope it carries through, all that kind of stuff. I want my team to do well. I want Matthew to be there. I want him to be able to succeed, and I want everything to perform. But then you go to the heart, right? That's the mind, and then you go to the heart, and you say, God damn, nobody deserves what she's going through. Nobody deserves that. And she's got the right support system in place with such a great guy like Matthew. And it's really it's something that she seems to have the right fight in her to come back from it. It's a hell of a story, right? This is something that's like an after-school movie, if you're talking about my generation, or maybe a Netflix special, if you're talking about you fucking punk-ass kids with your flat brim hats and all that other crap. This is something. This is definitely a story that has to be told, though, right? This is the you've got everything and it's all taken away, and how do you react? That's the story, right? That's the arc of the story.
I really don't like talking about the personal lives of the players we know and love in general. It would be I would prefer to never have to bring it up, but when there is a tragedy, that's a little bit different story. And there was a tragedy here, and a positive outcome is a positive outcome, and that's as just a fucking human being, I'm just happy that there seems to have been a positive outcome for this family.
In the right place at the right time. I'll tell you, before we'll get off of this very shortly, because we don't want to run a down show, but this is good news, and we wanted to make sure that we talked about it and reported on it. I'll never forget two things from last year's training camp, and all the time I spent with Sam and all the people. It was absolutely fabulous. I don't want to diminish that, but number one, Kelly, just strolling through the crowd, pregnant as hell, like ready to pop at any moment, right? With a huge smile on her face, having a blast. And I looked at her and I was like, I want to go say hi, but by the same token, I got to respect her, right? In her thing. And she was absolutely having a blast. And it was cool to see. It was like she radiated fun, like, and happiness. I just looked at her and I think back even into the moment, I was like, that made me happy just to see the big smile on her face. I was like, oh, I'm happier because I saw how happy she is, right? And then I went on and did my own thing. And the other thing is because I'm who I am. Stafford was walking by, the radio tent was up there, and he was heading up to an interview. I was like, Matthew, because I have a voice that can carry sometimes. And he looked at me. He was like, what? Like, he was a little startled. I was like, good luck this year, man. You got it. He's like, he from startled to, oh, thanks, dude. And then he went on his way. And I'll never forget those two moments, because it was within like 3 minutes of each other. I turned and I was like, Kelly is just absolutely super happy, and it's awesome. And then I see him and I yell, and he's like startled out of his skull, like he's going to get stabbed in an alleyway. I was like, no, keep it going, dude. Love you. Anyway, so that's that. So Kelly Stafford looks like she's doing well. We've got a probably a long haul ahead of us. Keep her in your hearts, keep her in your thoughts. If you're a praying person, do that. Make sure, because this is a big deal, and it's too young to have something like that happen. So, speaking of too young, we got to hit on one other thing, Case. The St. Jude thing we're doing, because we're doing something about this one. We're not standing here just reporting and talking, right? We got something going on, baby. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We are working our butts off to help these folks out. As you know, everything that we've raised from Patreon in the last month, from April and in March before that is going to St. Jude. We're donating all the money that normally would go into keeping the show rolling and paying for our bills. We're putting that in there. I did $500 of matching funds on top of it. We're doing t-shirt sale donations and all that stuff. A lot of other stuff going on. This is your opportunity now with the auction to take part and get 100% of whatever you buy from this auction to St. Jude. You want a shirt? We got a shirt for you. Go get it. $1 from every shirt. St. Jude. Boom. Nailed it. We've got a new shirt coming out in the draft party, by the way, and it's going to blow your freaking skull off the top of your head, just so you know. So you better watch for that, because that's rolling out. And throughout the end of the month, $1 of every shirt. Those shirts will go to St. Jude as well, but we've got an auction. And this auction is going on, and it will end at noon on draft day. On the 25th of April, we've got a game-used ball from the Super Bowl. We've got a Matthew Stafford signed football. We've got a Matthew Stafford signed helmet. We have a Darius Slay bobblehead that was only given away at one game last year. We have a football signed by Dean Blandino and Mike Pereira. Two huge, you might have heard of them. They have something to do with officiating, right? You can do whatever you want. Let's get into some of the big stuff. I Prevail. All right, it's a band. Did you know when their album released, they were #1 in the rock Billboard charts? I bet you didn't know that because you were too busy jamming. You were too busy jamming to that album. That's why. Yeah. Signed guitar from the band, up for bid right now, and it's not gathering nearly enough money. You people need to get out there, because I will outbid you for that. I'm telling you right now, that is something freaking killer, and these guys are about to explode. I'm telling you. This is the time to get something like that. If you're a collector, that is a sweet, sweet deal. They also have a sweet merchandise package from their latest album. It's the album. It's hoodies, it's sweatshirts, everything you could think of. That's going on. And we did have a donation from Colin Knudsen of 2 tickets to the Detroit Lions Allen Park draft party that we were able to put out there. And those were won already. And we were able to hook up some great people with some tickets and help some kids along the way. Get to that damn auction and start bidding, okay? It is time for you people to push this stuff up, because we're in the last couple days of this auction. It goes away at the noon, the draft day, the 25th. So get in there, bid this stuff up, and know you're helping out a great cause while you do that. It is DetroitLionsPodcast.com, and there's a charity auction link on the hamburger button if you're on your phone, or it's on your wherever that stuff is on the main menu. Get in there, bid on that stuff, get it up there, and let's get some money to these kids who need some help. Remember, ends on the noon on draft day. Great shirt coming, a lot of good stuff. Case, you gonna bid on anything, or you've already been outbid for everything?
Oh, I'm spending so much money, you have no idea.
I hate to say it, I'm spending some of your money too, so thank you. I'm gonna stroke my ego a little bit, and your ego too, Case, just so you know, okay?
Yeah.
And here's the big opportunity. Do you know what the top bid item is on that auction? Nope.
It's the naked portrait of you, right?
Oh, God. It was, but this one beat it out, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Dinner with you.
Oh,
and
oh
me
my.
And Riz and Sam.
Oh my.
Are you kidding me? I mean, this is something I have to explain to my wife how lucky she is to have dinner with me every night for free. Right?
I assume she's the one who won the naked portrait of you that she gets hanging in her walls.
She doesn't want to be embarrassed, so she's going to bid it out. No, the dinner with us is like the top item, and which blows my mind, right?
Cool.
It was a suggestion by Sam, and he said, "Let's do a dinner together. Let's put it out there."
That's
I was like,
cool.
"Oh yeah,
that's cool."
People like this. It's awesome. But I'm telling you, folks, we
love you all.
Oh God, we do. I'm telling you, do not allow this bid to be the top bid, because my ego is not able to handle. Get the Stafford signed ball up there. Do something to stop me from being who I am. Please. I'm speaking on behalf of Case here, okay? All right, so we'll move on. Case, there's something that happened, and this is kind of big news. The Chiefs picked up a dude. You might have heard of him, Frank Clark. and they're paying him $20 million on a franchise tag, which means he can go away anytime, right? And picks 1 and 2, and they're swapping 3. What the fuck? Should we have paid Trey Flowers more? Did we short Trey Flowers? Did he not get his market value? Did we mess up here?
I mean, the only thing that matters is that somebody else paid more when you look at the value of things than we did. And the Chiefs are that team that giving up a first round and a second round and swapping a third round pick while paying more than what we did per year or on the same level as we did per year. It's just nice to see whenever you spend a lot on a free agent, because spending a lot on a free agent is a big deal. It is. It really is. But getting to see another team overspend at the same position is always the most satisfying way to get over that, situation.
Damn straight.
And that's what happened.
And it's great to see that Trey Flowers came in at a good price, and we didn't overpay. I don't think we underpaid. I think we got a fair deal for a guy like that.
It was the market price. It was the market price.
It may be less than the market price in the end. We'll see how that plays out, and hopefully Snacks, he's got a new agent. We'll see how that contract plays out. We'll talk about that more going in the future. All right, Kenny Golladay, he says that Danny Amendola has this crazy work ethic, and it's forcing him to elevate his effort. This is an interesting concept, okay? So it's Night of the Living Sea from Reddit who posted this. One of the things we talk about, and people talk about, this whole Patriots way, whatever, but the idea of elevating people's games and bringing in somebody like Danny Amendola, who is 143 years old, seems to be a little bit crazy on social media, but he's there and he is focused on football 110%, right? He is saying, you motherfuckers got to get to work. And that's one of the things, and we're going to tie this together as this goes on, and we'll see if it ties together or not, but there was a little bit of a locker room split on Matt Patricia as the coach. And you sit here and think about it, and maybe Matt Patricia's driving people to perform, and there's people that just aren't that kind of performer, all right, used to it. And you bring in a guy like Danny Amendola, who may not be your solution at wide receiver in the slot because of his injury history and all that, but he may be part of the solution in the locker room to establish a culture about how people are expected to work. What do you think, Case? Am I high?
Well, I mean, the problem is that you also have to compare it to Golden Tate. And
he was a failure.
Golden Tate will always be one of my very favorite Lions. And so bringing in Danny Amendola to replace Golden Tate, you're never going to get the kind of production out of Danny Amendola. They got a Golden Tate. It just isn't going to happen. And anybody who's, setting themselves up for that, they're going to be living in disappointment. But that doesn't mean that Kenny Golladay isn't right. Doesn't mean that there's no value to those situations. The more we bring in positive players who fit what this coaching staff wants to do, I mean, that generally speaking, assuming that's what we're after, is to build a team that's similar in a lot of ways to what the Patriots did, then, I mean, if you're not bringing in players who have that mentality, what are you doing? I get that there's not a guarantee of success, that what they want to do with the team will be successful. So, I get that. But if it's what you want to do and what you're trying to do, there's no reason not to do that. And to bring in a guy like Danny Amendola, who clearly buys into that system and has bought into that system multiple times, and hopefully has something to teach to other guys. I mean, who am I to sit here and complain about that at this moment in time until I see how it plays out?
You're nobody. All right, I'll move on. that was a big crash. Sorry, I didn't mean to be that's stark with it. Tony's stark. Chris, I'm not feeling so well. All right, let's move on to draft miss. This is something Ash does every year. It's kind of like the 12 days of Christmas, but it's the 12 days of draft miss. But maybe it's not 12 days. We're a little bit different about how we do it. But before we get into this, and this is something, Case, I know I find this particularly interesting because I love to see how other people do it. But I want to make sure people know as the draft goes on that they're going to get inspired to pick up their Lions gear, right? They want their hats, the jerseys, the whole thing. And they want to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. They want to click on that Fanatics link, and that's how they go to Fanatics and get the official Lions gear. Top quality stuff, the very, very best stuff, right out of the box, and you get it from Fanatics via DetroitLionsPodcast.com. What happens when you do that? They give us a little kickback, and we appreciate that. It helps support the show. You were going to buy the jersey. You were going to buy the shirt. You were going to do all those things, but they give us a kickback. It helps us do this stuff that you're listening to right now, right? Helps make that happen. So DetroitLionsPodcast.com, click on the Fanatics link, and then go get all of your Lions gear there. Okay. Ash has the best draft miss board ever. He starts out draft miss day one. We're already, as we record this, ready to kick out day 3 of draft miss, and there's recipes for amazing snack foods during the draft that you want to know and have available. There are poems, because he is a slam poet if you've ever seen one. Ash is probably one of the, he's like, the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world. This is Ash, except from the northern side of the border. He is absolutely amazing. World traveler, smart as hell, does 175 different things, and has experienced 195 different million things, and has kind of focused where we're at. But draft mess is where he's at, and this is kind of a sweet spot. Love this stuff. A lot of people have been asking for it, so check it out. DetroitLionsPodcast.com, draft mess day 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. But in day 1, he shows up a big board, and this is something that you don't see a whole lot. People, oh, my big board. They refer to their big board, right? When they talk about draft stuff, they don't show it to you. They're making money selling it to you, whatever else. Or maybe they don't even have it because they don't want to be held to it. They don't show it to you for that reason, but they have this quote unquote board behind the scenes. Ash puts out a board, and he breaks it down in a pretty intelligent way, doesn't he, Case?
Oh yeah. I don't always agree with everything that Ash has to say, but
he makes a good argument every time, doesn't he?
Yeah, every single time.
Fucker.
Every single time. Like
that guy does
I hate to pump somebody's ego up too much. But despite the fact that we don't see eye to eye on everything, we see eye to eye on maybe more than I do with anybody else that I like interact with on a regular basis.
More than me, Case?
Yeah.
I can see the fucking baby Bambi eyes. Wow, you slam it up.
No. I really appreciate what he does, and when he puts something out, I have learned to take it very seriously. So
doesn't that kill you? Right? I mean, and it doesn't kill me because I've known him a long time, and he's a guy that you really cheer to win all the time. But Ash has some huge insights. I've watched him grow over the years, and he's an incredible kid. So let's say kid, but he's my age. All right, let's talk about his board. So he breaks it across horizontally across position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Yeah, down the road. But the way he vertically builds it out, this is interesting because people say 1, 2, 3, 4. They lock them down by numbers, but he kind of locks them down a little differently. And if you look at each row, right, his first one is too good to pass on. His second one is 2 spots are made better. So the idea here is this one person makes 2 positions on the field better, right? Then you move down to the next highest level is immediate starter. And then you go down to starter by the end of the season. And you starter for a free agent next year, right? This is that kind of forward view into what you're doing. Then you're starting to think probably later rounds in the draft when you're getting into these guys on your big board. Then you start thinking immediate significant package usage, right? So, okay, we got a place where we could fit this person. Then you go down to lets you cut someone next year, and then last is depth. I really love this setup for his big board. I like how he does that and the people that he puts in there. Any surprises in what you're seeing here, Case?
There's not necessarily like I wouldn't 100% agree with him on where he places guys, but I mean, like who is going to have 100% agreement with anybody else who's looked at any tape? They're going to fall in love with some guys. They're going to like some guys more than others. And
you haven't seen Ash's hand straight up my ass moving my mouth, because if we look at the wide receiver position alone, you know whose name isn't there? Andy Isabella.
Yeah. Well,
and here's a guy that I fell in love with.
Andy Isabella?
Let's talk about him, because I fell in love with him early in the Super Bowl. Like day one, I was like, oh my God, this guy's something.
He's fast. He's fast.
By the end of the Senior Bowl, I was done with him. I was like, nope, not my guy. Maybe round 43, whatever. He's not even on Ash's list.
And when he keeps catching the ball with his body, that's going to happen. So,
but
no, I completely agree. That's not the only
thing to drive that, right? There's more about Andy Isabella that's not right besides body catching. Body catching is kind of the thing.
That is I will admit that is a huge thing for me. If you catch the ball with your body, that is a huge thing for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna.
But is a transition word, Case. It's yes and if you're gonna do
no, there are other issues. I mean, there are other issues with him. I mean, speed is there certainly, but he's only slot capable. There's no jump ball ability. It's and I know that PFF loves him, but as I may or may not have mentioned over the years that we've been doing this, I don't always agree with PFF.
What? Wait, whoa. This is something new. You don't agree with PFF.
It's not that I don't understand where they're coming from.
No. I thought he's really good.
He's really good at getting separation.
That's why we went to video, so you could sell their stuff.
Yeah. I get it. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I get it. I get the hype. He's fast and he gets separation. But if you're gonna catch the ball with your body, that does not adapt well to the NFL from what I've seen, and maybe he can be the exception to that rule. And I know that some of the PFF guys have gotten a little overly defensive about the whole thing. So when they prove me wrong, that will be another feather in the cap of PFF, where I will say, okay, here's where I was wrong about PFF. But at the time, it just feels like Andy Isabella is. I want to like him so much because there's so much to like about him, but I don't want a dude who's going to drop every goddamn pass that comes to him.
We got that with the tight end before, right?
And I'm afraid that's who he would be in this offense. But there's a few other players, like I mentioned. There's some guys.
Interestingly, okay, so Quinn Williams, right, is a big one on his board, and Nick Bosa, of course. That's too good to pass on. If they show up off the board, 100% for Ash.
Right.
Here's an interesting one. Garrett Bradley, offensive lineman, beats out Lidstrom, Samia, and we're all about mispronouncing names here. Williams, Ford, and McCoy, right? That
it's
to me
tough.
Is pretty crazy.
So tough. It is so difficult for me to sit here and try to take PFF grades on offensive linemen coming out of college and
a lot of people are talking about Williams though, and he falls down to third
Right.
in his immediate starter list on the big board here.
Right.
It's interesting. And even I mean, you go down, you have immediate starter, Josh Allen is number 1 behind Nick Bosa.
Right.
If you look at his top 5 and they're off the board, and then you say there's 4 people left, okay? And out of those, the third one is going to go number 8. The top people he has is Hawkinson, Lidstrom, Allen, and Baker. We're not going to go cornerback, right? We're not even going to do that. So we're either Hawkinson, Lidstrom, and Allen. That's where Ash puts us at number 8. Interesting place. I think Allen's going to be gone, and that really puts you down to Hawkinson or Lidstrom.
I think maybe the most interesting part of Ash's rankings is the linebackers, Bushes, Devin and
Am I doing the 10
and Devin?
The 10-year-old joke here?
Davis. What's the other? There's one Devin and
there's
one.
There's a couple of Bushes out there. Devin and anyway, we'll move on. We shall move on from Bush.
Anyway,
which is not like
those
us.
They're interesting. They're interesting. Very interesting. Both guys that I sort of wrote off like months ago, just because I didn't think that was a major possibility for the Lions. But both guys that I'm, I don't want to say I'm coming around on. It's that I can see the positive potential on. White is, for all intents and purposes, Devin Bush and Devin White. There we go.
Yeah, it's the Devins, not the Bushes. There's only one Bush. That's for you, Case.
Devin White has so many similarities to Jared Davis.
Yeah.
Physically, he can run a little bit faster and he's probably a little bit stronger. But the major concern with him is that anytime an opposing defense tries to run a fake, he gets faked. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem we had with Davis.
It's a learning curve that Davis has been, and I don't think I'm going on a limb here. Davis has been going around that learning curve and succeeding in that learning curve. He's been getting better year on year on year on year. You have a guy now who has to relearn all that stuff that he's been taught. I have really good kind of intuition about where Davis is going to be this year as a linebacker. I really believe that he's a guy that can really step up and do and take all the things he's learned and put it together. This is the year he has to do it, right? Am I drafting a guy to push him while he's trying to put all these things together? I don't know. I think that's an interesting strategy if you're a GM.
Yep. I agree. And the other guy, Devin Bush, he might be a more natural fit for the things that Jared Davis is weak at, but the top end potential isn't necessarily 100% there. It really, I appreciate where Ash is coming from with his ranking on them, because I think I don't think he's wrong. I think they both have very high potential. It's just it's just a matter of how quickly they can turn that potential into actual production, and that's so difficult because we saw some good things last year out of Patricia and his defense. We saw some very good things. Yep. But
there's more to see.
Did we see enough for me to be like super comfortable with them taking project players? And I feel like both those guys are. Project is maybe an over simplistic.
They need growth though. And they need more than a year of coaching. Right. And that's kind of where the headset is on that. I will talk about a little bit quarterback and running back. He has nobody into the last row of depth. So Kyler Murray is a depth pick for him, right? And I have a feeling this is through the Lions focus. This is his Lions big board.
Yeah.
Also,
but
running backs.
I
Every
agree.
running back in the draft he has is
As much as I absolutely love Josh Jacobs, I mean, it's not like I can't even imagine a scenario where he's on the board at 8.
right. Nope. That's that. So you move on, and that's the world we're living in. One thing, again, my guy, call me stupid. I'm just calling this. I'm putting this name out there. I'm a little bit high on Kelvin Harmon right now, and it's a guy that a lot of people haven't probably looked at. He's maybe a round 2 guy, late round 1, early round 2 kind of wide receiver. Not even on the board here, and a lot. It's I don't know if he's being overlooked or I'm over scouting him. Right. So this is like I said. I went to the Risdon School this year. We started with the Shrine Game. We went to the Senior Bowl. We've been working through some stuff all along. I actually asked him for this top 50, and I told him hold back. I'm going to do my own top 50. I'm going to break this out, and we'll work through some of these things. So a lot of interesting things, and we'll see where Kelvin winds up. And there's a lot of learning that I still have to do, and I'm open to it. But Ash's board is great. And the fact that he put this together in the way he did, it's absolutely a great data point. And if you know Ash, this is definitely worth checking out and listening to. All right, we'll move on. Really quick, don't want you to forget about everything you buy that isn't Lions gear. Head on over to Amazon, but don't just go to Amazon. We know you shop there already. You can easily just go there. Head to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Click on the Amazon link. It's on the hamburger button or over on the side if you scroll down. And click that link. It'll take you right there without any pop-ups or funny stuff, and they give us a kickback. And you're going to go to Amazon. You're going to buy stuff anyway. Take a second and go through DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Help us out. They give us a kickback. They pay us for you buying shit you're going to do anyway. Why wouldn't you do that? That would be silly to forget about the people you're listening to right now and promoting. This is like the NPR of podcasts, right? We don't have some major corporate entity paying for us. It's just Case and I sweating our balls off and pulling our families in and, sweatshops with the kids and beating people and really making people miserable. Why wouldn't you want to keep that going? And the best way to do that is head to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Click on the Amazon link, the Fanatics link, any of those links, and do your purchases that way. Help us out so we can continue abusing our children and anybody else around us. All right. I want to talk about something. I hit this on the last show, the whole help a brother out with a VPN thing. I'm looking for a Detroit area VPN to get me some access to Detroit area TV so I can watch my games locally without AT&T giving me the AT&T rate. But there's news, Case. There's streaming rights. It's not going to be Sunday ticket only. They're talking about maybe getting it to like Amazon or somebody else. This is the future. Well, it's the past for the NHL and the NBA and Major League Baseball. I mean, they already done this, but for the NFL, this is the future, right? We're going to stream games to people and allow them to do that without buying that stupid satellite package. But after the season, am I stuck by a DirecTV case? Am I going to be without a VPN this year and have to watch football and pay a gajillion dollars via this?
Yes.
Somebody help me. Give me a VPN. I hated NTNT.
Oh, I was trying to be helpful, but I don't think I was helpful.
We need a grease fire in Atlanta. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right. So, I need a VPN for us. So I don't have to do that. Help me out, folks. All right. Key NFL dates coming up. 25th. Oh, that's like, if you may be late to this. It's draft. Don't forget the draft.
Oh, I still got a lot of work to do yet. I got a lot of bullet points to make up on all the maybe potential first round players. So I got some things to do before we talk again.
All right. So tell you what, Case, stick around for Tony. All right, and you can blow out for Riz. Is that okay?
Right on.
All right. So key dates: the 25th this week, and we're, as we record, maybe you're listening to it afterwards, but it was still a great show. April 25th, the draft. Don't miss the damn party. We've got a party on the 26th too. We're going to do the whole first 3 rounds of the draft. Join in. It's great. You're going to love it. It's the best goddamn thing you'll ever see about the draft. You don't need the NFL Network. You don't need ABC. You don't need nothing but you're sexy beasts here at Detroit Lions Podcast. All right, OTAs, off-season workouts, May 20th through 21st. That's coming up. May 23rd also. And then the 29th through 31st of May, and then June 10th through 13th. June 10th through 13th, and then after that, it is the dead season. People will be. It's like bone. It's like you'll see like the cow's bones with the horns sticking up in the desert. It's gonna be miserable, Case, and we actually have to like broadcast in that time. Are you gonna be able to? I'm telling you right now. Last week,
I will pull it together.
Last week of June, we're not doing a show. I'm gonna be out of town. I'm gonna be doing something. And we got a couple of travel things actually coming up. So we'll see how things go. But that's a dead season. We'll try to do our best we can to give you coverage when nothing's going on. And then mandatory minicamp is on the 4th through the 6th. Whew. Damn, Case, we talked about a lot today. You okay? You still with us?
I'm pooped.
You're pooped. I can see.
I'm toast.
I'm toast.
That's how you gotta say it. Yeah, that's the one. All right. That's it. Let's head into Tony.